The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, this is Jakob Nowell, the vocalist of Law, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to have Mr. Jakob Nowell on the show. He's the lead vocalist of Law and the son of former vocalist Bradley Nowell of Sublime. However, Jakob and his band Law are paving their own way and creating some very cool flavors of music, consisting influences from Tool, Primus, Rush, Queens of the Stone Age, Incubus, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Jane's Addiction. And Law's debut album, There and Back Again, is out now. I had a chance to check this album out. It's a full flavor of music, and it covers a wide variety of music, and it's absolutely freaking awesome. I'm just going to put it down that way. So, Jakob, how's it going, man?
Hey, man, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me on again, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, man, happy to be on here. I'm not used to doing interviews, so this will be fun. Special.
Break them in good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how's it been working with For the Wind Media so far? I know working with Jamie Nim's got to be really cool.
Oh, man, I love it. Jamie's so awesome. When we were out to, where was it? When we were in Long Beach, New York, Jamie actually came out and met up with us. Very nice of her to do, and we just got to get some face-to-face time and talk over strategy and everything. And besides just that, I've just been really hands-on in general, with getting us interviews and publicity and all sorts of other stuff. It's so cool, man. I feel like I'm in a real band now.
You guys released a music video for Cold. This video features the band in a Game of Thrones themed costume. So what was the appeal about this song to be a single and a video? And plus, I'm sure you guys are Game of Thrones fans, but how did the Game of Thrones theme come up to do this in this video?
I think if I say it was one person's idea, another band member will probably say it was their idea. So I'm just going to say it was all of our idea. But at one point when I was writing the song, I came up with this line for the chorus. I said, I'm a cold bastard like I was Jon Snow. And and Jon Snow in the show and the book series Song of Ice and Fire he's a bastard, and he lives up in the cold. And the song's called Cold, and so we just thought it'd be hilarious if we all dressed up like Game of Thrones characters. And my bassist, he's got this long, flowing blonde hair, and so we thought it'd be funny if we put him like in a really perfect blonde wig, and had him dress up as Daenerys, Emilia Clarke's character in the show. So, and again, it came out really good. It was a ton of fun. We shot it with my good friend, Jordan Manning. He's just an amazing videographer, and that was a lot of fun.
I have seen everybody talk about this show. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I have never actually, and people are going to hate me for this, but I have never actually sat down and watched an episode of Game of Thrones. Watch tomatoes. Don't throw them at me. Come on.
I know. It's one of those shows where if you haven't seen it, everyone's like, oh,
yeah,
how could you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's definitely good, man. I definitely recommend it.
It's like The Walking Dead. I used to love watching it, and now it's just turned to a horrible soap opera. I can't stand it no more.
You know what? I completely agree with you, man. I completely lost interest. That's actually a very common topic when we're in the practice studio. For some reason, Walking Dead will come up, and then they'll fill me in with the latest spoiler, who's alive, who's dead, and I'm like, man, I don't even like the show anymore. I used to care about it being spoiled, and it's to the point now where it just kind of fell off for me.
I guess for me, everybody was on the show for too long, if you ask me. Especially living in that...
I know what you mean.
Especially living in that apocalyptic world like that, man. So crazy.
Oh, yeah, man.
What's impressed?
Hopefully another will come to take its place.
I hope so. Hope so for sure. What's impressed or excited you the most about working on the new album, There and Back Again? What's caught your eye about it, if anything? You know, what sticks out for you on this?
Oh man, that's a good one. So what I really like most about the album is that it's like our definitive sound now, because we released 2 EPs before. The first EP, you know, we did a lot of ska and kind of punk stuff, mainly because that's just what we gravitated towards. So we thought we had to do. We didn't really think about it. We just thought that's what was required of us. We didn't realize we were able to branch out, and so we started gearing up towards that. And then we have our second EP, still a little bit of ska, but you can kind of see where we were headed. And now we finally have this album. Like, I almost wanted it to be self-titled, but the guys really fell in love with that title, There and Back Again, and they convinced me, and I ended up really liking it because it just seemed to fit with everything we went through to make it. And now we have it out, and we're getting this positive feedback, and it's just our definitive sound. And it's the music we make, you know. There's a little bit of influence of everything, and but mainly it's just stuff that we like, you know. A little bit heavier. There's still a lot of poppy kind of melodic, catchy riffs to it, and vocal melodies and stuff like that. And I'd have to say that the highlight of the album, like it's like a ramp up, and there's a peak. The peak is track, I want to say number 7, Autumn Light is the name of the track. I've got a CD around here somewhere, CD cave. But Autumn Light is the name of the track. Track number 8. And yeah, man, that's just like the culmination of everything.
Yeah, number 7's Blinking. This is, like I said, man, this is a really flavorful album. I like this. I was listening to it last night, actually. Correct me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, and I apologize if I do. Kazuku, that's a badass song. I like that for sure.
Oh, thank you, man.
And
yeah, dude, Kaizoku. Yeah, that one's a great one.
Yeah, and Doses
it means pirate in Japanese.
Oh, okay, cool. And then Doses of Psychosis. That's a badass song too.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Yeah, I wrote that one recently, actually, just this last year, and I kind of fleshed it out with the guys. I'm really happy with how that one turned out.
And I especially dig the Black Sabbath at the end of it. A little bit of tease of Black Sabbath.
Yep. In my guitarist words, not to speak for him, I think my drummer asked him just literally the other day, like, why he played Sweet Leaf there. Don't sue us, by the way, Tony. But he just said the song was in the same key, and it just like made sense for him to do. He's a big fan of that. Like when we finish a song in the practice room, he'll just like go into another song of various bands if it's in the same key.
That's awesome.
Make me laugh every time.
That's awesome.
And so I fought to keep that in there. A lot of people wanted to, like a lot of the mixers and masters and whatnot, they wanted to cut it all the in between parts just to make the album sound clean, which would have been cool too. But for me, I just wanted to leave those little clicks, those little hushed voices you can hear in the studio, all the little messy stuff. It's just cool, man. It reminds me of the trip going up there to Rancho de la Luna.
Are there any songs off the album standing out more to you than any on it right now, if possible? I mean, I know these are like picking your favorite collectibles or children or whatever, but are there any stands out for you, man?
Standout songs for me, definitely Autumn Light. That's the big standout to me. If I have to pick another one, let's see here. Probably The Doom, the closer on the album. I'm a really big fan of that. It's another song that has some lyricism based in the Song of Ice and Fire book or the Game of Thrones TV series. I think those two are really big standouts for me. And also Pastora, track 5. Mm-hmm. I'd urge people to listen to that. But for feedback that we've been getting that stands out to people, a lot of people tell me they like Blinking. That's the track number 7, right before Autumn Light. And for some reason, that song seems to be standing out for people. Also, Logan's Run and Kaizoku. Yeah, man. I really do like these songs. It's hard to do away with any. And
I want to go back to the album, and I've said this before, but I like how the flow of this is, how the tracks are laid out from track to track to track. There's a flow to this.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Yeah, very deliberate. We spent a lot of time deciding on the order of it all.
This album was recorded at Rancho de la Luna recording studio, which was prominently featured in Dave Grohl's Sonic Highways documentary series, as well as Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown series, and this also was produced by Eagles of Death Metal guitarist Dave Catching. How was working with him on this album? And did he just let you guys do your own thing and then step in, Jacob? Or how did he work with you guys?
Oh, man, Dave was great. So Dave was very hands-on. He was right there, and he had his engineer in-house there, John Russo. And they both were just great, man. So we present with them the songs, and Dave would suggest gear and equipment, and Dave himself would have a lot of ideas and suggestions, and he guided us through, but he was never too pushy, you know. He never said it had to be this way. It was always, you know, our final call. And all of his advice and input was very, very much useful and utilized. And the environment there at Rancho is just it's like you're coming to a family's home, you know. He's very welcoming. It's very comfortable and relaxing. I wanted to actually do vocals there. I think at the time, though, you know, just the vocalist curse is that, like, my throat was scratchy while we were out there. Like, I was just ever so slightly sick, so I couldn't do the vocals there. I had to do them at a later date at Slightly Stupid Studio with George Massa. But but while we were up there, though, the experience itself was just so much fun, man. He really showed us a good time, and it was a great place to make the record.
Who did the amazing artwork for the album cover?
That would be Fisher Spellacy, our bassist's very own brother. He has an Instagram handle here, if I could remember it. Yeah, man, he's just really great. He has this very unique style. And, his Instagram name is Left Breast. Find him there. All spelled correctly. The eponymous man himself. And but he's just really really good, man. And we've used his art before in the past for our EP Toxic, and we commissioned him a long time ago to put something together for this, and I think it really captures the flow of the album pretty well.
How long did you guys sit on these tracks before you actually started to recording them? And are these actually new songs that you got in the studio and started working on, or were these worked on previously then brought into the studio?
Well, these songs, actually, the bulk of them, we've been working on them sitting on them for, years. I think right when Logan joined, we started to write a lot of these. Pastora, track 5 was one. Hold I had even before Logan joined, and he joined in 2016, so around March, I believe. And so a lot of these, Autumn Light as well, Aiden's song, Logan's Run, The Doom, a lot of these songs we've just been sitting on for years just trying to get them out, but you know, the powers that be, and just trying to get all of our ducks in a row. It took forever to really get it done, and the album itself has been done for a year prior to its actual releasing. It's just all this promo work we had to do, and which is good, and I'm glad we did it. But it's very cool to finally see it all out there. And it's funny, when we play them now, it's almost like my urge is that I don't want to, because I want to play our newer stuff, because we have like 30 newer songs that are unreleased so far.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, so this whole batch of this album songs we've just had for so long, but then when I do play them for people in order, for people who've heard it now on the CD, and I see the reaction, it really breathes new life into the songs for me. And there are a couple newer ones, though. I know Kaizoku and Doses of Psychosis. Those are 2 songs that I brought to the table last year that we kind of fleshed out and made full raw songs. So there is a little bit of newer material on there too. Just those 2 tracks.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I mean, sitting on these for years and then finally getting this out and seeing the reaction of fans actually digging this and loving it, I'm sure that's got to spark the excitement back into these songs for you.
Oh man, let me tell you, we just got back from the East Coast, and our reception out there was just amazing. We played in Long Beach, New York, and in Baltimore, and it must just be the music scene out there, the appreciators of music out there. It's different, I'm guessing, but the crowds just went absolutely wild for us, and I've never really seen that, and it was just such a cool, positive thing to be a part of, to see people genuinely, in my bassist words, like getting the flow of the song, like just understanding it, like jumping at the parts when it rises, and moshing at the parts when it gets heavy, and just hanging on those words when it's a very pleasant ballad part. It was just so cool to see that the music makes sense to them, man.
What do you hope the fans or folks take away from the album, or message you hope they get while listening to your music, or just any of it at all, Jacob?
Oh, man, that's a great question. These are awesome questions, by the way. Thanks, man. I love this.
Thanks.
These are great. So my 3 bandmates would probably have something different. So I'll tell you what probably the band's message is here. I think that we, as a band, would like the takeaway to be that, hey, this is just some good new rock music. This is, hopefully, we want it to be, hopefully seem like a fresh take on the rock formula. Nothing, groundbreaking or mind-blowing, but just some nice music, man. Just some good rock music that is genuine and authentic, and that can be catchy but doesn't sacrifice, the grit and the balls that makes rock cool.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want people to take away from my quarter of the band, my quarter of this album in the lyrics, I have a lot of allusions to like media that has really helped me out through my life. Be it video games or anime or TV shows or books. There's a lot of stuff in those media and art forms that has really inspired me and helped me out through my life. And there's little just trails of that throughout the songs. So, like, my ultimate hope is that there's, like, some sad 14-year-old nerd somewhere who hears the album and he's like, holy shit, I've never heard someone reference this thing, this IP that I really like in a song before. I love this band. I want to hear more of that. So there's just all these little hints that I'd love for people to get if they're fans of what I'm hinting at in the lyrics.
See, dude, you get it, and I'm so glad you get it. I know where you come from, plus your dad being in Sublime and stuff like that. I know that, but you actually get it as a human being and as a musician, because there could be somebody out there like I was when my father was sick, and when I heard Metallica's Masters of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, those albums and Injustice for All. Those albums, especially Masters of Puppets, saved my life during that time when he was sick. So, yeah, I'm glad you get it. That there's somebody out there that when they hear your music can feel it and just say, hey, look, everything's going to be okay.
That is totally it, man. That is completely what I want to do this for, and I've been hearing it since I was a kid, and I hear it whenever we play shows and out in Baltimore and stuff. But, when someone comes and tells me that my dad's music helped them, and got them through a time or made them feel not so alone or that, like how you said, that everything was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the real goal for me when I try to make art, because that's what all art forms have done for me in those times. If it's music or a TV show or an anime or a book or a video game, like I said, it's something that made me feel inspired, connected, and at ease. And I'm hoping that this music can do that for people. And if someone comes up and tells me that someday, then I'll know I can die happy and that we did our job.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you've got a song out and somebody says, hey, man, that song right there said everything I needed to say, but you did it for me. That's I can't even, I get chill bumps thinking about it.
Dude, absolutely. It's me too, man. I got goosebumps right now, man. I'm not even kidding. And it's such a gift, too.
It is.
That's the goal of it, man. Like, we don't want to do this for vanity or to be seen as like, the best people ever. We just want to create like this cinematic experience,
So I know you said you had about 30 songs new that's out there in the back burner. Plus you said on these songs for a long time that's out right now on this album. But Jacob, how much growth musically have you seen this band and plus yourself go through up to the release of this debut album? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys involved in this?
Oh, man, definitely both, I would say. So from when we started playing together as a unit, because it was Aiden joined and then Logan joined. Once we all 4 got together and started playing together, just the amount of growth as musicians and as people together has been phenomenal. And that's the biggest thing is that, and I tell people this when I'm on stage, is that I'm doing this thing with my 3 best friends in the whole entire world. And it's so cool that I get to do that. We're not just coworkers. We fight, we argue, we make up, we go have fun, we hang out together, and we create something that's genuine. And our process has just been so smoothed out and ironed out. And the amount of time we've been working together, just getting our knees scraped and finding what works and finding what doesn't work, and going through the trials and tribulations of life. We're all in our young 20s, we're all growing up still, and it's just cool that I get people to share that with, to share that experience with. And a lot of that process does come through in the music. Like even on this album, like that song Blinking or Autumn Light or Pause, there's a lot of of our band growth that I draw inspiration from and want to put in the lyrics of our songs. And I'd like to say that a lot of the feelings that come up from growing as people and doing this weird thing called being in a band and making music that my bandmates put into their instrumentals too.
For the fans that have not got to see Law live as of yet, what are they going to get from you guys, Jacob, when they come and see you live?
They're going to get an entirely unique experience. That's what I think. And if I do say so myself, not to brag or boast, but I'm confident in saying that if someone comes and sees us live, they'll see something that they have not seen before and won't see until their next Law show. We are big, strong believers in the performance, in the live act. You know, I myself am sick and tired of seeing of how live performances have become in popular music. I'm a big fan of popular music, but there's been times when we've played in venues and shared stages with very popular acts, like, you know, certain rappers, not to name names, but and these can be good rappers and everything, but oftentimes they'll go up there on stage and it'll just be them and a DJ and a couple of their friends, and they just play the MP3 of the track over some big speakers and move around and hype the crowd, and that's not a show, you know?
No.
We played shows where the band's not even plugged in and they're just playing to a backing track, and none of it's real, and that's not the performance, you know? When someone pays money to come see us, I believe that their money's worth entitles them to seeing something interesting. And you're going to see me making weird faces and jumping all around and doing crazy stuff. You'll see my bassist headbutting us because he's good, man. He's good at that.
Yeah.
We're going to get him a hard hat. And you'll see our guitarist looking like an absolute god, like his hair flowing in the wind and shit, like this fucking statuesque crazy dude. And then our drummer, you'll see our drummer. Yeah, man, it's a great time, man. You'll just see four guys having a great time.
Now, we're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media to reach out to more fans who have not got to hear you guys as of yet. Do you like this, to get albums out quicker? And plus, we've got the social media to reach out to more folks to get your music out and to let them hear you. Do you like this that we're in right now?
Personally, I do, if I have to think about it. And I know a lot of people who don't. And I know a lot of reasoning for that. And I think when I first started making music, you know, when I was a teenager and the people I was influenced with, I came from this camp that was very, you know, no, the underground is where it needs to be. You know, analog is the way to go. All this overflooding is crowding the industry, and it sucks. But, you know, like any human construct, things evolve, and there's a natural progression to things, and there's dips and rises. And even though it might seem like a dip in a lot of places, there was a lot of rock deals signed last year. And look at that band Greta Van Fleet. They're humongous.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rock music that's just happening. And I think you need to take what you can get and utilize the tools at hand. So we'd be fools to ignore that. And personally, I'm happy because when I really look at it, this is my era. This is what I grew up with. This is what I know. I mean, I can reminisce about an era that I wasn't never a part of. I think Matt Colville said something about that. There should be a word for nostalgia for an era that you weren't part of, because there's so many kids my age that are just like, man, if only it were like the 90s again or the 70s or 60s. That would be it. That would be the day. But we weren't part of those eras, man. We don't know what it was really like. We can only hear the nostalgia of others. So I'm going to take what I can get in my era. I'm going to utilize these tools and enjoy it. Even though I hate using social media, I rarely ever use it. My bandmates have to badger me to post a single thing on my personal one, and they do all the posting on our band social medias. But seeing that interaction and being so instant with the people, it's what you got to do. And personally, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, man, because I cover a lot of stuff. And I see, and I'm glad I still see this. There's still punk bands out there that are still doing it, but they're so far few in between that without social media, you wouldn't know about it.
Exactly.
And plus, black metal bands out there. I mean, I do cover some of that. I think it's neat. I think it's cool that there's still young guys and females out there who are still willing to put that time and effort in to take that chance to say, hey, look, let's try this anyway.
Mm-hmm, man. I completely agree, man. You take the bad with the good, and then you try to make something new.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you, man, for that day possibly, or just what was it in general?
Man, that goes way back. Well, growing up, my mom would always take me to shows. Ones that would stick out are like G Love and Special Sauce. She would take me to that. I remember, what are some other ones we'd go to? I don't know why G Love and Special Sauce sticks out, but I would just love that music as a little kid.
Yeah.
But she would take me around to a lot of shows when I was a little kid, and I was always told from a young age that my father was a musician and how great he was and how everyone loved him. And I think that and him being never around, I think that there's an inherent desire in a child to want to do good on that and follow in those footsteps a little bit. So that was the first inclination, but it quickly evolved into something else. I remember that I wanted to. It was almost an unexplainable desire. I'm sure a psychologist could explain it, but eventually it became this for me unexplainable desire and this urge to want to use music to speak.
Right.
I think that I remember there was a show growing up called The Fairly Odd Parents. And there was this kid named Timmy in it, and he was 10, and there was always this joke that it sucked being 10 because no one would listen to you. And I feel like no matter how old you get, you still feel like you're 10 sometimes. You still feel like no matter what you do, your voice isn't heard by people, and it feels to me like this huge like I was denied this basic human right. And I always wanted music to be the way that hey, you're going to come to these shows and you're going to have to listen, you're going to have to hear me. And it was that selfish desire. And then it became wanting to help people, and then it became, from there, everything that comes with the mysterious art of making music. And at 12 years old, I asked my grandpa to teach me how to play guitar. And he taught me 3 basic chords that I could play pretty much any rock and roll song on. And then he taught me how to make a bar chord, and he's like, there you go, now you can play any song there is. And that's all I've needed to know. From then on, that's all I had to do.
just listen to AC/DC. That's all you need.
Yep. After learning that much and moving forward, kind of having this dream as a young person, which it sounds cliche, but that's what it was, is a dream. And we still have that. It just pushes me forward to this is the medium I choose. This is the avenue I choose to be heard. And because I think I have something that I don't know if it's worth saying, but I'm curious if people might want to hear it, and it feels good to say it. That alone is fulfilling enough for me.
No, man, and, it's worth saying. This whole album is worth saying. So I'm not saying this because you're on here and the backstory, but honestly, it's worth saying. Trust me. Totally, man. Totally, and I appreciate that, man. Seriously, thank you. It's definitely a unique way of doing it, but I think a lot of musicians can relate that the fact that people out there are willing to pay you to just do something that you love doing, it's so rare to find. And I know it's not like how it was back in other eras of music, but the fact that people still are willing to pay it all just blows my mind. Mm-hmm. Is there a Sublime song you would love to cover, possibly, if any, maybe? Oh, dude, for sure. So, not with this Project Law. With this Project Law, I very strictly our own thing, just because we don't want people to get the wrong idea this early in our career. Mm-hmm. And it can be really easy to lean on that and ride those coattails, and we really wouldn't want to, because it'd be super easy for us to just be the new Sublime and just do Sublime songs and be a cover band. But that's not the route we want to take, and it's not interesting. But that being said, if I look at Sublime just as a band that has a lot of songs that I really like and that have meant a lot to me and even helped me through a lot of hard times when I was a kid, regardless of the fact that it's my dad, there's definitely a couple songs that I'd like to do solo at some point in my life. Maybe not even release, just secretly, just for the love of those songs. And I think one of my favorite songs on my dad is Pool Shark. Ah, cool. Yeah, man, Pool Shark. It's just a really fun one to play. His lyricism is so good in that one. I've always been a huge fan of my dad's lyrics. He's amazing, man. Yeah, for I think sure. As a little aside, my grandpa always tells me the story that he told my dad that when he writes songs, he needs to write songs of social significance. And that's always really stuck with me. And then I guess my dad went on to write Date Rape after that. Yeah, and I remember that song. Yeah, man. Pool Shark's a big one. Boss DJ, I always really like. That one always really gets me. And for some reason, one that always
what is it? One song that always makes me cry is Mary. Mary is one that I'd love to cover. That one's amazing.
What I Got is a badass song by what they did. I'm telling you, Wrong Way is awesome. Bad Fish especially. Oh my God. You can go on and
Bad
go
Fish
on.
is a fun one too.
Yeah, for sure. Oh God, what was Santeria? Oh my, that's my song from Sublime. That's it.
Right? Yeah, man. I mean, they have all these hits. I mean, think about it. They're just such good. And you know, if I'm sure this is going to come up too, but I mean, just for the natural flow of this, if I think about my own songwriting and how it's been influenced by Sublime, man, it was influenced for me, like those Sublime songs, all the ones you just mentioned. It reminds me of Queens of the Stone Age songs that I love from my favorite album, Songs for the Deaf. Mm-hmm. It's just that you'll hear a song and it just checks all the boxes. It's just the perfect pop hit, like the perfect radio hit, but it's not lame and it's not stupid. It's genuine and it has grit and it's real. Then it makes you feel something. It's not this soulless, mass-produced object. It's someone's life you're hearing about, and it's something tangible. And when I hear those songs growing up, I think they definitely influenced me just because I would hear them so much, man. They're just so buried in my subconscious that when I try to write a song that sounds good and catchy, I think without even knowing it, like I go back to that at times.
Have you taken anything away from your father's music as a musician to maybe incorporate in your own style of writing or just anything with it possibly? The
elements that I choose to take are those that I just mentioned. Just that accessibility and how they can have so many songs that just sound like hits because they're just so catchy, but still so cool. But also, I try to take. Well, I've never done it consciously, but I'd like to, and I think I've tried to do it subconsciously. But he has this writing style, which I think mine's very rapidly different or very different. But his writing style, just that songs of social significance, man. Writing something that socially is current and has an impact on people. And I guess I take that and I spin it that social is such a big, broad umbrella term. And instead of a song that's significant to the mass audience of society, you know, it may be a song that will be significant to a more niche audience or society. A song socially significant to people like nerds.
And my last Sublime question for you, Jacob.
Yes,
what
sir.
do you think about Rome coming in and now being the vocalist of Sublime? I mean, honestly, man, I think this is crazy to say this, but Alice in Chains, when they brought Wim DeVal in to take over for Lane, I mean, they couldn't have found anybody else better, in my opinion. And in this, I think Rome has done a hell of a job coming in for Sublime. What's your thoughts on this, man, if any, possibly?
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, and speaking of which, we just saw my band just played Aftershock Festival that Alice in Chains played too, and we got to see them live. And yeah, dude, their singer is great. He did such a great job. Obviously, it's not Lane, but he just services the song so well. Mm-hmm. And my honest opinion on Rome, man, is for a while, you know, and probably still, Eric, you know, Bud and Eric, they just wanted to keep playing that music that they love, and Rome fit that bill for them. And now I think it's become really its own separate entity. And Rome puts his own spin on things. He sounds very R&B to me, and he's just doing his own thing, man. And more power to them. I'm happy that they're using the name Sublime with Rome because, you know, to me that's not Sublime. And for a band like Sublime, it's slightly different than Alice in Chains because Alice in Chains, you know, Jerry Cantrell was such a huge part of the songwriting and the band itself, and he's still up there. It's a little different, whereas a lot of just the lyricism in Sublime and its vision overall, my dad was a conduit for that. I mean, it was all of their lives and their scene, but I think that's really what made that. But for what it's worth, I think that they're making their own new stuff, and Rome's at least able to do the songs justice when they cover those, and it's cool that people enjoy that and that they want to go see that. The only downside for me as someone connected to it is I remember it used to really like hit me the wrong way when I was younger. Like I'd hear someone say like, "Oh man, I just went and saw Sublime," and I was like, "What? How is that possible?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean Sublime with Rome?" Or I remember this one time I was with my friends. I was 14, and one of my buddies he put on a live video of Rome singing a Bad Fish or some Sublime song. And without looking at the video, I just thought it was a video of my dad singing. And I looked over and I saw that it wasn't him. And I remember it hit me very emotionally. And I was like, turn that the fuck off, man. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, I can understand.
Because it just hit me in this weird way. But nowadays, I have a much different understanding of it. And I think what they're doing is pretty cool, man.
Sure. I mean, when I lost my dad, I was angry. Oh, my God. Yeah, I was so angry at the world. But, you know, day by day, it gets better.
Yeah, yep, exactly, man. I think it's its own thing, and, you know, really, it's just, we have nothing to do with it, you know? It's their choice to do that, and, yeah, I think that they make their own music now. They make their own new stuff, and it's their own separate entity, and for their fans that enjoy that, more power to them.
Folks, Law, There and Back Again album is out now. I suggest everybody please pick this up. It is very, very good. So, Jacob, my man, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, this album, tour dates when you go on tour, all the information? How can you do that?
Go check us out at our Instagram, Law LBC. Type it in your internet search box engines, and you'll find all of our social medias connected to Law LBC, one word, Long Beach City. We also have a website, lawlbc.band. You can find tour dates there and merchandise. And please give our album a listen to if you haven't. Please come and see us at a live show if we're playing near you, and I promise you it'll be worth it. And when you do, please, everybody, remember to enjoy your lives. You've earned it.
Yeah, for sure. Sir, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Absolutely, man. Let's do it. Perfect. Hey, everybody. This is Jakob Nowell, the vocalist of Law, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We've got some great, great music coming up, and you always hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please check out our Facebook page and also check out our YouTube page. All of our links are all on our Facebook page. And please check out Law. Great, great stuff from this band. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Not a problem, good sir.